Okay, so this is just a short video of part of scene 7. We'd figured out how we were going to set it out. So we've got the middle scene with Jamie and Anna, and then Laura and Carol. I play Laura in this, but again I'm filming the other cast. This was mainly to help talk about some of the changes, particularly towards the end of the scene, which I didn't show in the previous one when we looked at scene 7 or talk about that much, and to talk about how these two scenes work together. On the other side there isn't much going on, that's why I'm not really filming that side. Beforehand I'm just going to talk about some of the changes and then I'll talk through it. A lot of the changes and a lot of the significant things that we talked about to change in this scene was between Carol and Laura. Laura is this character that Carol's really interested in, and I think it's the first hints to the audience that Carol may be lesbian. She may have some sort of interest in exploring the world, looking at it differently, and maybe that's why she feels trapped with John. Maybe she feels trapped because she can't express who she is because of the time period, and Laura is a really carefree character who sort of enters this. It's almost like a dream. I feel that Carol sees it as a dream, and this scene is definitely dreamlike in the fact that there's this character just talking to her and takes her away from reality, whereas this is the reality on this other side in this scene. And there was a lot more physicalization. I think it was all to do with the physical change that we've done, because these two hug, they show more physical care, and there's more physicalization here as well. So I'm going to play through it and then talk about it as we go. So this is all about her thinking about talking about reality, whereas taking her away from reality is Laura. Not intentionally, but I mean, Laura is a funny character because she flirts with Carol and she's interested in her and she was sort of obsessed with her when she was young. But she knows that Carol has got a child. She knows that Carol has got a husband, and so I think she doesn't take things very seriously. She just sort of goes to kiss her and sort of sees it as a bit of a laugh, probably does this a lot at parties. Whereas here's the seriousness. Anna's saying that she feels scared and vulnerable, and this is supposed to be a happy thing about doing the house up, and I think this is quite a happy scene for them really, so it's a bit of a contrast. So this was part of the changes, the actual physical hug. I'm just going to rewind a bit so that they're words. But as you can see, they did physically hug. It brings them together, makes the relationship closer. It makes the audience feel that Anna has actually found someone that she likes and she loves. And the proxemics of it all makes them feel like they can comfort each other. It's a bit of different to what you'd expect, especially with Anna's track record and how much she can trust people, and with everything that's gone wrong in her life previously, you wouldn't think that the outcome would come to this scene. So in our rehearsal process we were looking at how to hug, and it was an important thing because it wanted to be caring, but not in a father-daughter way, in a relationship way, but also because Anna is having a hard time at the moment. Also another thing, I don't know whether we did this in last scene, but Laura's got a drink in her hand, has to reach over the back to put the drink on the stand behind Carol, and I think that this was an excuse for her to sort of reach near Carol, to sort of reach over her, go leaning towards her, this sort of to own the space a lot more, but to also flirt a bit. And I think that's my struggle. I struggled with this scene a lot, especially throughout rehearsals, trying to own the space, trying to be bigger than especially Izzy, who was a lot taller than me. I found it hard to dominate, but I think that was something that I'm trying to work on, but I'm finding quite difficult, and these little actions help with that. So making sure that this interaction is not father-daughter like. Characterisation is good though. I feel that Maya's flirting a bit, but it's a bit intense. I feel like Carol needs to respond more to how interested she is in Laura. Because this is one of the first times with all these different changes, there are a couple of awkward pauses, but I think that we'll iron these out and they'll be a lot better. This is the actual placing of the glass. I think she needs to lean in more. Okay, so she says, "You're still the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, mad." And then she leans in to kiss her. This we had practiced a little bit before. The length of the kiss was important in the fact that for both characters especially, you didn't want it to be too long in the sense that it was building a new relationship with a new character, because Laura only has the scene and she's not really relevant in the play to the rest of the characters. But to Carol, I think it's an awakening. I think it's a life that she could have had, and we definitely discussed this in detail about what other life she could have had if she hadn't been with John, if she hadn't had a baby, if she hadn't been tied down and she wanted to be free. And I think if she was younger and she made a different decision, then she might have been happier, and the result of the play might not have happened. So to infer all of that from her length of a kiss also shows how committed Carol is, what she's thinking, her thought process. I think it should be that it takes a lot of time for her to realise what's going on and whether she likes it or not. In this first running it through, we didn't have Carol reach up and engage in the kiss. It was sort of just her being kissed by Laura. But in the next couple of lessons, because I'm doing this as the whole rehearsal process, we did have her engage in the kiss, also put another hand up and engage in the kiss. And this is something that I feel, if the audience were to read into it, to interpret it as their own, I think it would be very interesting, because it shows how, even though I think she does care for John and she definitely cares for Anna, but it shows how she did want a different life, how she could be happy. She wasn't always unhappy, she wasn't always wanting to escape from the world. And it's this glimpse of like, wait, is this the reason why? Is this why she wasn't happy? What's this all about? And I think it makes the audience definitely think. It was helping us evaluate the scene and helping us build on Carol's development. I think personally it was something that I looked at in great detail, and it's just one kiss, but the length of it, and that Carol does engage as well, means that she wants something else. She can recover, but it's a bit too late now, especially in the century and the time it's set. So the length of the kiss, we used the other lines to help us know when to finish. So I think the length of the kiss was good. It looked fairly realistic, and the actual holding of it, Chip kept saying use more movement, which is something that's I think could have been done as well, which we're going to hopefully improve on, but I think that the length was good. So you could say that from this scene, when she said it's a good thing, that could be Carol's thought process. So Carol is thinking it's a good thing that I've just kissed this woman. The line "look at you, look at your face" is one that I've also looked at in detail. So "look at you, look at your face" could be that she was shocked because Carol looked upset or freaked out, and I think that's what I initially thought. But now we're looking at it more in the rehearsal process, I think it's more a pleasantly surprised look. And we also changed this later on, that she stood up, Laura stood up. But yeah, and that's the end of that evaluation.